Hello, I'm Dung Tinkle, and this is the Brave State of the Alliance address for July 2022. The state of Brave is strong. All right, let's get to it. There's a lot going on in Eve, a lot going on with Brave. So the first thing I want to address is there is a lot of Eve drama going on this week. It's in Discords, Reddit, all over the place. And I'm not going to talk about it. That is not my circus, and those are not my monkeys. My job is to focus on Brave, and that is what I'm going to do. So let's get to it about Brave and the war. Overall, we're doing well in the war. Our strength really is in logging in and joining fleets. We've had some good successes, but this is just the opening of what can be a very long war for us. There are lots to do. You'll be asked to join fleets, help with different things that we're doing to try and keep our opponents busy in other places. A big thing that's going to be important is raising our ADMs and lowering the ADMs of our opponents. So the opponents are bringing in a lot of allies, and so are we. You might see some smaller names you haven't seen before that are blue to us. They are here to help. But this war is going to be a war of who is willing to fight more. There's a lot of time zone shenanigans that go on. That's understandable. But in general, it's going to be a long haul. We didn't start this fight, but we're in it and we're going to continue to fight. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, a big thing in a war like this is money. War is not cheap, so we're being careful what we spend on. So I know you sometimes want a level 5 iHub upgrade here or something like that there, and so we're going to be pretty judicious about doing those kind of things as a lot of the money is getting poured into the war effort. ISK is a real issue. The majority of all the spending we do is into SRP costs for putting people back into ships on the field. We do have some reserves, but we're going to be working on ways to grow our wallets. But you'll hear us talking, hopefully honestly, about the money situation. But for now, we're doing fine. But we do want to find some new ways to generate ISK. As your corp CEOs may have told you just before the war kicked off, we instituted a new policy on taxing corps. So if they haven't talked to you about it, you can ask them about it. I can go into it later if it's helpful. Okay, as is tradition, I have some junk food here. Originally, I was going to make this video before American Independence Day on the 4th, but too much got going on. I went on vacation. So I'm going to try these limited edition Twinkies and cupcakes that are patriotic themed. So this one has some kind of, I don't know, I would call this a sickly blue. It doesn't look very exciting to me with some red sprinkles and white frosting. Tastes like almost every other cupcake, which is okay. Not fantastic, but not super terrible. Oh, and the new merch showed up today. Very nice. And then this is a Twinkie, and the Twinkie has like red and blue sprinkles in the Twinkiness. I don't want to call it dough because I think it's probably a chemical concoction. Gotta love a Twinkie. That's good stuff. I definitely prefer the Twinkies over the cupcakes. All right, let's get to it. Before we talk a few more things, I want to give some kudos. We had a really huge battle in FTAC-N, our staging system, about the iHub, and we did really well. It was very impressive what we were able to pull off. So I'm going to have a list here I'm just going to go over because I couldn't remember all this offhand. So number one on the list in kudos is Alonzo and the rest of the Pause Boys team for just the crazy amount of anchoring, unanchoring that we were doing to put the entire constellation on lockdown, put in place a lot of stuff we needed for the defense plan that was put in place. It was a ton of hard work, moving not just the structures, not just anchoring them, but getting them fueled, turning things on and off when was needed. Really impressive work by the Post Boys team at Alonzo. Also, I have to mention, Shattered Armor or Milder, the overall defense plan that was put in place and the coordination, everything ran through Shattered. All the lessons that we learned in World War B were put into play here, and it allowed us to face down one of the largest coalitions in the game, fight them to a standstill with some very strong tactics. And our opponents in Winter Code Fraternity had some great tactics too, with these posses and dreads being placed in there. Like, everyone was bringing their A game, and we brought our full send, and we did well. So kudos to Shattered for really putting together the entire plan for how to defend against this kind of assault. And thank you to all of you for logging in to fill the roles. Another person I want to thank is Wolfie on the Diplo team. Wolfie did a tremendous amount of work. There were several smaller groups that wanted to help us out. And despite the rumors of us bringing in another block, we didn't bring in another block, but there were a lot of smaller groups that wanted to come and assist, and they made a huge difference. He led the Diplo effort for that. He brought in a bunch of additional pilots to help. Some of those, I think, were on that Dictor fleet that really bottled up the FRT supers for a while and created a whole new process, and we have a whole new Discord for how to handle people that want to help us in this fight. So kudos to him. That was really good work. And then in the fight, again, we weren't really holding back, and so we had a bunch of people bringing supers on the field, and they personally put a ton at risk by basically bringing supers into combat grids, which you don't see very often in these kind of fights, for the risk of them getting dread bombed. So I'm going to read the super pilots that literally put their ships totally on the line for Brave. Dujek, Muffin, Morgaine Mighthammer, Shattered, Quinn, Mumba, and Fearvina all put their supers on the line. One of them got tackled and was able to be saved, but that's just a ballsy move in the face of fighting one of the biggest blocks in the group, or in the New Eden. And then we had several fax pilots who lost their ships, and now they either lost their faxes saving other ships like the supers, or they were running the Entosis nodes, which again, when you go into triage as a fax pilot, you're basically I'm going to lose this ship probably, but I'll do it for the greater good. So these pilots, again, really threw their ships into harm's way and did what needed to be done to help this defense happen. Alexis Finch was there, Isilla was there, Original Name was there, Kaladin was there, Placeholder, Sample Text, what a great name, was there, and Subroot was there. All of them putting their faxes on the line, creating a glorious explosion at the end. But they really did their duties. And then, of course, to all of you, we had a huge form-up. I think everyone was surprised that we were able to defend the iHub the way we did against an enormous force that Winterco brought. Look, they're a powerful group. They're strong. They're smart. It's going to be a tough war to fight against them. They brought a lot. We brought a lot. It was a good fight. We were victorious in that. So everyone helped out. From the last frigate to the people with bridging titans, everyone helped out in that fight, and everyone deserves kudos for that kind of effort. We're going to need you to keep logging in. We're going to need you to keep joining up fleets. And like we saw, every ship mattered in that fight, from all the Griffins we had jamming people, to the Dictors, to the people in the Munin fleets, to the Dreads we had on call, to the faxes, to the supers, to the people gunning the citadels themselves. Everybody mattered. You matter, being a part of Brave. Okay, speaking about being a part of Brave, let's talk about recruitment. We have continued to see growth with a lot of new people joining. They're in general joining the individual corps. We have a new Discord specifically for recruiting now. I'll put the link somewhere here. This is how you do it. You gesture and then you put it in post. You put the link, and I'll put it in the comments. So it's great to have new people joining Brave. People seem to like what we're doing. They want to be a part of us. That's wonderful. If you're new, feel free to speak up on comms and ask questions. If you're old, again, as I always say, let's keep the memes to a minimum and keep the good answers and short replies to the maximum. There may be some corps joining us. It's really up in the air. There's some chaos in other parts of the galaxy right now that may lead to some corps joining us. That's still up in the air. But right now, if you have friends and they want to join Brave, you can send them to this Discord and they'll help them join. If you're not a part of Brave and you're watching this video and you think it's something you want to be part of, again, go to that Discord. You can see all the corps that are recruiting. You can have some conversations and see if it's the right fit for you. Speaking of the right fit, one of our core principles is staying classy. And I'm going to go over this again and again and again. War in EVE is an emotional time. It's easy to get caught up and let your emotions get the best of you, and I understand that. But that is not an excuse to use slurs or be unclassy or in any ways not follow kind of the ideal we want to follow here. Now, people, our opponents, other people that aren't even on any side, they are going to say terrible things in local to try and get you to engage, okay? And you do not want to climb into the mud with them, right? A lot of the times they are trying to get you to say something in local that they're going to screenshot and use against us to talk about how Brave is unclassy. So I know it can feel frustrating to hear people or see people write stuff in local that you don't like or insult you and all this kind of stuff. But I think this is a case where we have to take the higher road. That's not who we are. It doesn't help us. Wars aren't won in local. So I know it can be frustrating for people, but we're just a bunch of space nerds playing some crazy video game. There's no need for these kind of slurs and insults and things that are going to get brought up as like examples of how we're a bad group of people, because you're a good group of people. So please take your time. If you see other people reacting to local or provocation, just to help them ease back, because that's not what we need in this game. This game should be a fun relief from the drama of the real world, right? And I hope you're having fun, even though we're in a war and even though we're blowing up stuff and stuff of ours is getting blown up. It should still be fun. These fights should be engaging. You should enjoy doing whatever part you could do, whether you're an industry person or a market person or an FC or a dojo person or the people who make blueprints in industries. Like, enjoy the game. Don't get too caught up in the kind of shit talking that can go on in these wars, okay? It's just a game. It's just a crazy hobby we have. I don't have a lot more to go over. Obviously, our focus is on this war and having people log in and having a good defense against everything like that. I hope you're doing well. I hope the summer is going well for you. I will see you in Slack and in the various Discords that we have. So until I see you at a meetup at some point or the next time I do one of these, stay classy, have fun, and be brave. Woo!